Welcome to Fright Night.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
Please welcome Art the Clown!
We can defeat death. We can achieve every doctor's dream. You'll be famous.
I was working on a master's in social work here at the University of Texas. And I met a young couple that ended up being in Toby's first movie. And so they were doing volunteer work with me. So I met Toby that way. And he came to my house and shot some scenes of a movie that I was in called Eggshells. Then 4 years later, I get a call and they had written the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And they had this part for me to play, I guess you called the wiseacre, OG, the driver of the movie. And so that's how I got into it. I wasn't an actor, and some of the people who have reviewed the movie have said so, but the fact is, I guess we were all believable.
He's gonna get you, Franklin. He's coming to get you.
You don't think it means anything?
We'll protect you if he tries to get you.
Well, I bet it's about me.
He's gonna kill you, Franklin.
It probably doesn't mean anything, huh?
You worry too much.
Well, he couldn't find us anyway. I mean, he doesn't even know our names.
I gave him your name, Franklin. I told him where you live. I even gave him your zip code. He's gonna kill you.
Jerry. What are you doing?
I can't find my knife.
That knife won't do you any good. He likes that knife, remember?
But I think in the editing of the movie, I think, Toby, there was brilliance. I did not see Leatherface until I actually go into the house and get killed. I had them blindfold me, and I sat out on the front porch and worked myself up into a lather. So, I mean, I was already berserk, by the time I went into the house. If you see that scene where Freezer starts making noise, I open it up, she pops out. I was freaked out completely, and I started screaming and running out of the house, whereupon Toby yelled, "Cut." And he came over to me and he said, "Alan, that was a great scream, but you got to wait for him to get into the frame of the movie so we can get it." So we had to do that a couple of times. That's how freaked out I was. Gunnar actually lived with me, stayed with me for the summer before he moved to Maine. And he was just extremely bright guy, extremely personable. And even though he doesn't say a word in the movie, you see his presence, and I think he was the best Leatherface of any of them. I mean, my favorite scene actually is at the gas station. When we pull in, and I mentioned this, and Jim Sedow comes over to the van and tells us that he's got no gas. And we're looking at him like, what are you, nuts? But when he comes to the van, the troll guy that was there, pulling the pail of soapy water, and he starts putting it on the van, I inadvertently hit the windshield wiper, and it threw all that soapy water onto Jim Sedow's face. So he's trying to deliver that line, and all this soapy water, I'm still laughing, is still, just flowing down his face, and I was gone. I mean, I was gone, and Kirk was next to me, Bill, and we were gone for the day. It's so much so that I ended up where Toby got real upset with us. He walked off the set, and Kim Henkel had to finish up that scene. But it was just a lot of laughs. The death scene I thought was pretty good because I felt like I acted in that scene, It was really my nod. I don't know if you know about this, the Stanislavski method. I mean, we're in a van with no AC, with lights, cameramen. That was the worst part, but considering that to what the other cast members had to go through in that house with the rotting bones and the rotting food and wearing the same clothes, like Leatherface wore the same outfit for 6 weeks, it got pretty rank. I mean, my shooting was actually a couple of weeks. They worked around me because I was doing a camp for kind of underprivileged kids at the time. So they worked around my schedule and did a lot of the shooting. They had that trailer, for the girls after they, after shooting several scenes, they went into the makeup trailer and they got their hair fixed and whatnot and trimmed. And I saw this and I said, wow, maybe I need to try that. So after one of the scenes or whatnot, I got out of the van and I went into the trailer to see if the girls could, work with me. And they came running over and said there was nothing they could do for me. So that was it for me. I had to leave.
Just let him have a whack.
Hey, Grandpa! We're gonna let you have this one!
Just let him have a whack. You just hush. It won't hurt none. My old grandpa's the best killer there ever was. I never took more than one lick, they say. I did 60 in 5 minutes once.
Compared to what goes on today, that's like a Disney movie, compared to what goes on now or what they show. So no, I don't think it should have been banned. In fact, I was at a Halloween autograph signing a couple of weeks ago, and a young girl came up to me and she said, "It's not a horror movie, it's a art movie." Now that I think about it, I think she's right. I mean, there's some of the things are beautifully shot and you see very little blood. It's what goes on in your mind, that why it's so terrifying, because the whole sound of it, the whole atmosphere, is terrifying. And the fact that it's in Texas, people believe it. After seeing Eggshells or whatnot, I knew that he was a really talented guy. As far as a director, he didn't really give us all that much direction. And maybe that was on purpose. They kind of kept us apart. So the victims were separated, from the bad guys, which it turns out the bad guys are the heroes. When we go to the autograph signing, they're lined up for Leatherface. And unfortunately, now that he's gone, they're lined up for Ed and John. The bad guys are the heroes at these conventions. But they did line up for Marilyn, and I miss them every day. They were, terrific people. I got close to pretty much everybody except for Franklin. We all hated him. Fortunately, in the movie he dies, by popular demand. But it turns out he was the sweetest guy also. After the movie was over and I met him at a convention, well, my life didn't change very much for a long time because it's taken a while for, I guess, people to discover and to realize the impact that this movie had. So I think I did my first autograph signing at a convention called Cinema Wasteland, and that's when I really got a sense of what it meant to folks. So the movie came out in '74. That's almost 30 years later. I wish that it had come out, or gotten that kind of fame when I looked like I did in the movie. Because now when I go out, it's like, here's this geezer, sitting down, and you don't look the same, but that's show business. I've got kids as young as 8 years old that are fans of this movie. And I think back to when it came out, my son was about 5, and I just took him to see the coming attractions to see his dad. Almost 50 years ago, he's still in weekly therapy. So that was the impact that movie had on him. But now you're meeting a whole new era of fans of this movie. And every time a new movie comes out, they compare it to the original, and we still hold up as like, we're the ones, It's like you can't get lightning in a bottle. Since that time, I found a van that is the same kind of model van that I drove in the movie. And I found it on a chainsaw website, on a fan website. And it was residing in, I think it was in South Dakota. And there was a phone number, and I ended up calling the number just by chance, saying, I'm sure he doesn't have it. As it turned out, the fellow that answered the phone, his name is Scott Key. And it turns out he's the great nephew of Francis Scott Key, who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. So I said, do you by any chance have the van? He said, yes, I do. And I said, well, I'm the OG, I think I got to get it. And so we worked it out, and he brought it down to Texas, to Austin. And I took it to my mechanic, who had been up on blocks for like 25 years. So he restored it, got it running. A fan came up with the original color. And so it's been painted, it's got the blood stain on. And we're going to do a road show and some other fun things with the van. And in fact, I took it out to Kingsland, where they moved the house. And new owners, I found out, have purchased it, but they're gonna keep it and almost make an homage to Tobe Hooper. So all of a sudden, some really neat things may happen, and that's a scoop for you because nobody knows this. The one that I drove was a '72. We don't know whatever happened to that. This is a '74, so it's a 2 years newer van, but it's got the sliding door. It's got, you know, it's as good as it can get. You know, when the movie was made, and I guess that's part of the interest of the impact of this movie. I've met people who said it changed their lives. You know, seeing this movie, they went into film, they went into all kinds of stuff, creative stuff. So the impact is still going on, and so I'm looking forward to the next couple of years.